KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Sunday, you guys listen to Whatever Works. I'm your host, Sam Works.
I'm Kyle Kerrigan.
And you guys are listening on KCAA, 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM. The station that leaves no listener behind. Go ahead, Kyle, give him a little shout out.
All right, snjradio.com. No negative news, no politics, just feel good music. And her man, Secondhand Sam, up at Second Chance Thrift Store next to USA Subs on Ukaipa Boulevard.
Yeah, USA Subs is not our sponsor. We're just using that as a landmark.
Well be.
Yeah, but it might as well be. Might as well go talk to them.
Yeah, if you own USA Subs, contact us.
Yes, there you go. And if you guys enjoy listening to us and want to go back to any of our older podcasts, where can they find us, Kyle?
They can find us on KCAA All our links are there. We have our Instagram, KCAA Whatever Works. And you can find us on Facebook and Twitter as well.
There we go. And there you have it, folks. And we actually have someone on the line. He is our guest for tonight. His name is Jeff. He works with me. He's a really cool guy, and I'm excited to have him here. Jeff, are you here?
I am with you, man.
Hey.
There we go. What's going on, Jeff?
How you doing?
Good, man. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. Excellent.
Being super busy.
Good.
Let's get a little background about you, Jeff. Like, what do you do? What's going on? And, who are you?
Well, I am the man they call Jeffrey. I grew up in Ventura County, moved to the Inland Empire to go to college at Cal Poly Pomona. That was a good experience. I was in the hotel restaurant program, kind of intense, but you learn real fast because of the intensity level of it all. Let's see.
You said a hotel program?
Yeah, it's a hotel restaurant program. At the time, and it's probably still true, that it's one of the best hotel restaurant degrees in the United States. There's other ones for sure, but this was one of the better ones on the West Coast. I know UNLV in Vegas is also a top program, and there are definitely other schools. And there's a lot of opportunities in that industry if you like working long, funky hours. It's a good career for you if you like that kind of thing.
So what is it? Does it help you like own a hotel, or what? I had never heard of this.
Well, you could. You could actually major in college in just about anything. I mean, if you're a musician, you go to some college and get your master's degree in flute performance or, trombone performance. I mean, there's just, you name it, there's a college program for it probably somewhere on this rock. But yeah, it's good. I just did my bachelor's degree there, and I wanted to go right into industry and to start working and trying to make a living. And I was, like late 20s by the time I really got the majority of my degree done. So, I was really hungry for income at that point.
Mm-hmm. And then
money.
Yeah, so you started chasing the money, and then
little bit.
But when did things really start changing for you financially, would you say?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was in my 30s, and I saved up a bunch of money. I went back to school, Cal State LA. I was going to pursue a PhD in music because I'd been a guitar player for, at that point, about 20 years. And I met some guy who was in the opera program at the same university, and he hired me to become an appraiser trainee. So, being a greedy little guy that I was, I said, yeah, let's do this. So that's what we did. And a number of, I would say like 5 years later, I started my own company. And it was like a year or so before that took off. And I'm like, well, I'm not making much money in my own shop. But then again, it was just starting. So I started thinking, okay, I got to think outside of the box. How do I make more money in whatever job I'm ever going to have. So I started thinking, okay, I need to somehow hire at least one person and train them really well so that they can take some of the pressure off my back
Mm-hmm.
and, pay them a few bucks and see what transpires from there. Well, that actually worked out really well because initially, you hire somebody or two or three or 89 people, and as a business operator, you're going to have some more pressure on you.
Right.
And so at that juncture, I was like, well, I better figure out a way to bring in some new clients so that I can not only keep myself in, groceries money, but also my sister, because I hired my sister and my brother-in-law first. So it worked out. It worked out a little bit more pressure, but it worked out very well. And then I was able to hire a few more people, like photographers, that could save me some time in the field so I could focus on the inspection and the report writing aspect of it, which is sometimes very tricky. Sometimes it's very tricky. But that's how that kind of evolved.
Would you say that was probably the hardest part of growing your business?
Hiring people and training them, or just the lack of money initially?
Oof. Let's say the lack of money initially, because I know that's pretty
Yeah.
tough. So how were you able to pull that one out?
I just really didn't spend any money on myself for the first 2 or 3 years of my new business. In other words, I didn't even go to Ross to buy a $25 pair of pants. I just didn't do it. Boy, if I had $85 in the bank, that was a pretty good day back in those days.
And
Yep.
what's a pretty good day now? Now what are we looking at?
It's definitely different. I mean, I'm working on, I'm in my 50s now, so I'm like, when can I retire?
Dang, you're in your Jeff, you're in your 50s?
I'm 57, bro. 58 in about a
What? No
month.
way, man. If you
Oh,
guys
yeah, you didn't know that.
hey, you need I texted this guy. I said, "Hey, send me a picture, like a profile picture of you so I can post it on social media cuz y'all got to see this guy. He does not look like he's 57, 52, 47, 42.
Well,
You look like a young 38 stud."
oh my gosh, you just scored some points with me, brother.
Yes.
Well, not that I'm pulling rank here, but I'm old enough to be your daddy.
That is so insane. I didn't know that, really, honestly. I mean,
Yeah. I guess I'd probably take after one of my uncles who looked pretty young, Uncle Morris, and he looked very young even when he was 90 years old. I thought he was like maybe 70 when he was 90.
really.
But then he was a very straight-laced dude, man. He didn't touch alcohol, didn't smoke, so I'm not like that.
Right.
I'm a little bit of a red wine guy. I smoke cigars on the weekends, but other than that, I'm very disciplined.
Have you ever had cigars and wine at the same time?
Oh, of course.
See, I asked my grandparents. Well, yeah, my grandparents. They came to visit, and they live in Saudi Arabia, so I don't really get to see them too often. So when they come out here, it's a little special. I get to, bond with them a little bit. And
Yeah.
my step grandpa, he loves wine. And then he went outside and he's smoking a cigarette. I was like, "Oh, do you smoke cigars?" He says, "I only smoke cigars with my wine." I was like,
Yeah, man.
"I never had that.
So-
I had cigars and I had wine
Oh,
before, but
It's really good. It's really good. But of course, I don't like to promote alcohol or smoking just because it's not always good for us. But everything in moderation.
Yeah.
yeah, everything's a poison
Wait a
if
minute.
you use too
Okay,
much."
so we got to get into this. Your grandparents live in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, so
Whoa.
long story, man. Actually, my grandma lived in the Philippines, and my grandpa, he went out there, picked her up, they got married, had kids, whatever, and then they split, right? So this is why when I speak of my step grandpa, this is my step grandpa. So my grandma, I don't know, I guess just went out to Saudi Arabia and met him, fell in love, and you know, like I don't.
Wow.
But my grandma, she's in her 70s, but she looks so young, and her
Yep.
secret is avoid the sun, because
Oh yeah, yeah,
then you get the
yeah. That'll.
sunspots, you get burns, you know.
Yep, yep. That'll age up your skin in no time. I'll tell you what.
Same thing
So
with wine though.
that's that's interesting because I don't think I've ever met anybody that lives in Saudi Arabia. And maybe I did 28 years ago, but I don't recall that. But that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, if I had my passport, I would have already taken the trip out there, but
Wow.
I don't have my passport, so.
What city are they living in?
You know, if I knew, I probably wouldn't even pronounce it right on the air. So I'm not sure.
I've heard of a few cities over there. I know one of them is called Riyadh.
Yeah.
Riyadh.
I think that's a pretty major city over there. But yeah, man, you got to check that out and go over there and soak up the sun, wrinkle up your skin a little bit.
I know, get tough, man. Tough like leather. So, do you have a passport? Do you ever travel?
I have a passport, but it expired. I do travel. Most of my vacations, like the last 10 years, put me in Ventura County because that's where I'm from and born. And so I have this hotel up there that it's a National Historic Hotel. So I stay there all the time when I'm up there.
Oh, okay. What's it called?
Huh?
What's the hotel called?
It's called the Pierpont Inn because in Ventura you have the bay and it's called Pierpont Bay. So they made this
okay.
hotel around 1910, and so it's right across from Pierpont Bay, the ocean, right, the pier and everything. And back then, in 1910, there was no Highway 101. So this hotel had like the finest location that you could possibly have, basically. But then a number of years later, they built the 101 freeway and the railroad line right next to the hotel. So it's a little bit of a buzzkill, but it's still it's still a really nice place to stay. The freeway noise is pretty minimal. I've never heard a train, and I've stayed there at least a dozen times in the last 10 years, maybe more, probably more.
Huh.
And I just stay there because, my family has history with the hotel. It's very reasonably priced. So if you only have $85 in the bank, you're not going to stay there. You're going to sleep in your car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're on a budget and you want to go somewhere for a week, this is a pretty good place to consider.
Well, I'll definitely shoot you a text and tell me get the directions for that. Cause
Yeah.
this weekend, all right. So this weekend I slept in my car. We went out to San Diego to watch UFC fights, right? Because my buddy he bought UFC
nice.
tickets.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was. I mean, he bought the tickets, but I'm gonna speak for him. It was worth it, all right. But
Yeah.
we got a hotel for Saturday night because I was the day of the fight. But I was like, hey, let's go out there Friday night and party it up, go to some bars or some clubs, just go to San Diego. It'll be a good time. But for one night at this hotel, which is not some grand hotel, it's nothing crazy,
Right.
was like $300+ for
Yep,
one
Oh.
for one night.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Friday night we slept in the car because we booked it for Saturday night. We didn't book it for Friday, and we weren't gonna buy another night. So
Yeah. So was it a good fight?
oh yeah, it was
Fight.
the
Many fights, right?
yeah. There was I think 13 fights, and there was 7 finishes, like 7 knockouts.
Oh wow.
And I've been to Kyle, he's been to like King of the Cage. I've been to King of the Cage. But like UFC is something like the atmosphere is just a little more different because it's UFC, it's like
Yep.
the King of the Cage type stuff. So it was pretty cool and Steve-O was there. There was a bunch of actors and actresses. I didn't want to goo goo gaga over all these like celebrities. So I'm over here trying to play it cool. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm one of you guys. You know, but it was definitely the energy, the vibe was amazing. But I was telling Kyle during one of these fights, I actually started to daze off and fall asleep. It was weird. Because it was Friday night when we went out to San Diego. We slept in the car. We didn't sleep well. Like, it was just like,
No.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
That's
of course we're gonna
so tricky sleeping in the car. That's tricky. You're not gonna sleep well in a car.
exactly. And then like we're at this UFC fight, so of course we're gonna buy beer, which by the way was like $16 for one beer.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like Dodger. Well, it's like any stadium, Dodger Stadium, Angel Stadium. I remember the last time I took this woman I was dating about 4 years ago, took her to Dodger Stadium on a Friday night after working all day. I get to the stadium and I'm like, I want a cold frosty barley pop, right? That's beer, right? Barley pop.
Mm.
And it was like $15. And I'm like, okay, well, luckily I have a little bit more than $85 in my account tonight. So, so you probably know because you went to this fight. The UFC was started by Henner and his brother's father. I'm trying to recall his name, but the Gracie family started the UFC.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and luckily for me, I trained with the brothers in Torrance for a long time.
Really?
And it was a lot of fun. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu it's very intense, but you have to bring your
Do you have a belt?
I'm in the process of testing for blue.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've only been at it for about next month will be 4 years. I came from more of a striking background. Like I did Krav Maga for a long time.
This guy, who is
That's
this
crazy.
Jeff, man?
Huh?
I said, who is this Jeff doing Krav Maga and like jiu-jitsu with the Gracies and
I look like an English teetotaler.
yeah, that's so crazy.
But that guy couldn't knock out a bug, you know.
And here you are.
But so Brazilian. It's all awesome. All martial arts are awesome in their own way. They are. And I've dabbled in different stuff since like 81 because I got my ass kicked in front of my girlfriend in 11th grade, right?
Mm.
So that was my motivation. I'm like, that shit is never going to happen again. And it hasn't. You know, I was training. Yeah, I was like, that's the last time my girlfriend's going to see me get my rear whooped. So, you know, when you're 16, it's like the end of the world. My girlfriend saw me get beat up, you know. And, you know, you get over it pretty quick. By the next week, I was training in Hawaiian Kempo in Camarillo, which is in Ventura County.
Wow.
And I show up the first night, and I'm like, oh, my God, everybody here I go to high school with. This is good.
What?
Because now I go to high school, and I've got my gang.
Okay.
So nobody's going to touch me at this point. Because I was a scrawny, short kid in high school.
Mm.
You know, so people were kind of looking to bully, you know, but not anymore. So it's good to have a gang in a good way, you know.
That's so crazy. Yeah, because like nowadays, if like you walking down the street, there's people that are like everyone's been in like some type of martial arts.
Yeah.
Right. Have you been in martial arts, Kyle?
I did karate when I was little.
See.
I did karate when I was little, and then I want to get into jiu-jitsu probably later on or early next year, probably.
Yeah, I think that there's a Gracie Baja Academy in Redlands. It's pronounced Baja, but it's spelled Barra. In Portuguese language, a lot of the R's are silent, and Portuguese is basically the main language in Brazil.
Yeah.
Which is where Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu comes from. There's a whole history there. We can always get into that sometime, but it's interesting that the Gracie family started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I mean the senior elder statesmen of the family who are no longer with us, but Haleo, I'm under his lineage as far as a grappler. if you study with the brothers in Torrance, you're under the Haleo Gracie lineage more than the Carlos Gracie lineage.
Gotcha.
Carlos Gracie sort of started Gracie Baja, which is more sports focused, where the Haleo lineage of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is really more about just destroying somebody in the real world if you had to, But it's all good. I mean, whatever your thing is, it's good. Hawaiian, Chinese Kempo, it's good. You're learning striking. You're learning a little bit of grappling, but you're mostly learning striking and kicking and, kind of destroying somebody in that way.
Yeah, I used to do Kempo for a couple of years.
Oh, yeah, man. What did you do? Hawaiian, Chinese, American?
Chinese Kempo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had good times now. Where did you do that at?
So it was actually in Calamasa off of the Calamasa Boulevard. But they moved and then they split. And there was a sensei there. His name was Sensei Paul. He opened up his own dojo here in Ukaipa off of California Street. But unfortunately, he died from I think from COVID, to be honest. It was during the whole COVID incident thing, so hey, conspiracy, was it COVID? I don't know. But rest in peace him. So
yeah, that's horrible. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
that's not good news.
It was actually really interesting because when I was in martial arts, I wanted to do MMA. I wanted to be in the UFC, all this crazy stuff. So my mom signed me up, went to this, went to that one. But Sensei Paul, his dojo, he offered me to be his student. I didn't have to pay. Because he's seen my potential. He really, liked my discipline.
Wow.
He's like, I can teach you, blah, blah. However, it's if you want to learn how to beat someone up in the street, then you can go somewhere else. His was traditional Chinese Kempo. You're learning the background, the history, the meaning, the art of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I took from it. And then, I went to high school, did some wrestling, and that was really fun. And then, I have 2 older brothers, so we do some jiu-jitsu. We roll around sometimes. I actually had my English teacher called me out, and he was like, come to my house and grapple my son. Because my son's yeah, he's my son's 17. He's a brown belt, whoop-de-whoop, la-di-da. And I was like, I can take your son. And then he in front of the whole class. So he's like, all right. And he gave me his address. And I showed up that I think it was that week. It was a Wednesday night. And it was pouring rain, lightning and thunder, you know? So it was, the scenery was just on point. And I'm a wrestler, and obviously he was doing jiu-jitsu. And so he was like, all right, 2 minutes, just, don't kill each other. And the time ran out before any of us got to, choke each other out. However, I was doing moves that my teacher was like, oh, you told me you haven't done jiu-jitsu. I was like, I haven't. It's just naturally, this is how I get out of things. I never went to class for it, but my dad showed me, my brothers, you know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
So it was pretty fun.
That's good, man. You gotta, I always suggest to people to keep up with whatever floats their boat. So if your thing is Brazilian, do it. If it's Kenpo, do it. If you have time to do a little bit of both, that's good too. It's good to have a cross reference,
Would you say that?
You might be on your back and some big guy is, pressing down on your lungs and you're not getting much air. But if you can get an elbow free or a hand free, you can slap them in the next week, And that's what you do in a street fight. Punching in a street fight, I would say, don't do it unless you really know what you're doing as a puncher.
Yeah.
Better to slap the crap out of them, break their eardrum and their jaw at the same time. The jaw only requires 50 pounds per square inch to break it, and you're probably going to break the eardrum at the same time. And believe me, they'll be begging you to stop hitting them. They will beg you.
It's
that's got to be painful.
It's funny because I would rather take a punch than a slap, only because slap stings, man.
They do.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't like the feeling getting slapped.
Yep.
I'd rather get punched. Hey, I have a question for you. We have 5 minutes until we go on our half break, but
Okay.
there's a community out there, like a group of people who like roll around, like do jiu-jitsu and all that good stuff, but
Uh-huh.
specifically they get high before they train. Like
You mean
what?
they smoke weed?
Yeah, they smoke weed before they roll.
Hmm.
Okay, that's interesting because that's kind of weed for whatever reason is kind of popular in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community. But go ahead, I didn't want to interrupt you. I just wanted to
Hey,
interject
I
there.
think you're on the right track. Because I mean, maybe not too many people know, and some people are listening on the air that probably shouldn't know this. But me personally, like I understand that. Yes, I've done it before, and like I also do it before I go to the gym, and I can see why they do it in jiu-jitsu because it gives you like that mind-body experience, and it zones you in while you zone everything out. Like you're just so like free flowing and you're relaxed and you're feeling the body, feeling the movement, and like it really like your body adapts to like naturally, rolling on the ground and fighting rather than like you know what I mean? Instead of like getting that
Well, I might have to try that sometime.
because I do that before I go to the gym because like I said, it zones me out and I'm zoned in like to myself. And the burn specifically, like let's say I'm just pumping some, bicep curls, the burning sensation is completely different. I mean, it's the same, same. However, it's like because you're mentally there with it, like you like it, and you just keep going. You're curious, and like it really helps me like focus on me rather than like looking at people at the gym or trying to have like a conversation with people because I can't do that when I'm smoking.
And that's where me and you are a little different. When I was at the gym the other day, and there was a gentleman, maybe about 40 years old, that his arms were so massive that he had headphones on, and I felt like getting his attention and going, dude, I think you need to work on your arms a bit. They're puny. But his arms were bigger than my legs. I'm not joking. I was like, what happened to this guy? Whoa. Unless he just lives in the gym, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm in the gym, I'm kind of looking around for, some possible, lady friends too. I have to be honest.
The truth comes out.
I have to be honest. I'm not just going there to work on my killer massive bicep.
I mean, there are some cuties out at the gym, but
oh yeah.
What I don't understand is when girls put on makeup and they dress to the T, like looking like a 10 every time they walk into the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
they
like
sweat it off. It's like, oh man.
or they don't even sweat. They don't even sweat because they have makeup on. They don't want to, get all icky. And it's like, girl, you're at the gym. Like I appreciate a girl more if she's like working.
Yeah.
When she's at the gym pumping the iron rather than some girl just trying to look pretty. You're eye candy. Yeah, I get that, but I ain't
Totally candy, man.
It sounds like Jeff has a sweet tooth.
I do.
That's too funny.
Yeah, not only for ladies, but for actual desserts, man. I'm like, my next door neighbor's always bringing these big, massive cupcakes from Costco for me and my mom. Yeah. So I got a half a cupcake out there. It's a snickerdoodle cupcake. So I'm like, I'm into that.
Dang, snickerdoodle.
Nice.
I like that. Hey,
man, it's good. It's good.
All right,
but yeah, gym is good. Gym is good for, it could be good for your social life too.
Oh, yes, definitely. And more on that when we come back from our break. Jeff, please stay on the line. Thank you guys for having us on. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. You guys are listening to Whatever Works on KCAA.
From the Bureau of Economic Geology, this is Earth Date. By looking at fossilized dinosaur nests, scientists have determined that most dinosaur babies needed to be nurtured by their parents, like modern birds. However, a new discovery points to a different upbringing for some of the biggest dino species. Recently, paleontologists discovered the fossil of a baby titanosaur from Madagascar. As an adult, this species could grow to 50 feet long, yet their eggs were smaller than soccer balls, and their hatchlings weighed just 7 pounds. How did they get from the size of a human baby to bigger than a city bus? While the infants of many species look very different from adults, this fossil baby was almost a perfect copy. The scientists used CT scans to look inside its bones and discovered patterns of very rapid growth, showing that since hatching it had added 10 times its weight in a matter of weeks. A study of its joints then showed it would have been much more agile than its lumbering parents. Taken together, its adult-like proportions, rapid growth, and athleticism suggest that this little sauropod, unlike humans, would have had to fend for itself right after hatching, like many modern lizards. Its ability to find large quantities of food to be able to grow that quickly must have been key to its success. Scientists still don't know much about the parenting habits of dinosaurs, but this tiny titan is shedding new light. I'm Scott Tinker, and this has been Earth Day.
Earth Date is produced by the Bureau of Economic Geology at the University of Texas at Austin. Earth Date is researched by Julie Hennings, written by Harry Lynch, and distributed by Mark Blunt and Casey Walker. For more stories, follow us on Facebook or visit earthdate.org.
We've all heard jokes that begin with a rabbi, a priest, and a minister walk into a bar. Well, a rabbi, a minister, and a deacon actually walk into the KCAA studios every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. to host the radio program Religion on the Line. And that's no joke. Together, they offer a mixture of humor and serious conversation about things that really matter in life and how to make our lives happier and more fulfilling. They compare religious doctrine and learn from each other while bringing a unique perspective of religion to the KCAA audience. Listen every Sunday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. for Religion on the Line, the intersection of humanity and divinity, right here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listeners behind.
The Mortgage Voice is Jeff Barton, your mortgage advocate here on KCAA. Jeff informs you of the ever-changing mortgage industry. Mortgage loans can be confusing and overwhelming, but Jeff and his guests will help you understand the difference in various loans and help you own or keep your home.
Trust is the major issue here, right? If someone doesn't trust you with their most intimate financial details and secrets, it's going to be very hard for them to do a loan.
Tune into The Mortgage Voice every Saturday afternoon at 3 and Sunday at noon here on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM.
Bob Vila here with my home improvement tip of the day. Chair rail molding adds a tasteful touch to rooms, especially when it's combined with crown molding. Chair rail type moldings were used at least as far back as the Greeks and the Romans, but they didn't come into popular usage until 18th century England. They were all about protecting walls from chairs, which were always kept at rest up against the walls in proper English dining rooms. If you're thinking of installing chair rails in your home, here are a few points to keep in mind. To be the most visually appealing, chair rails need to be installed at the right height. Most experts say the right height is about a third of the distance from the floor to the ceiling. If your tastes tell you otherwise, maybe go a little lower rather than higher. Installing above 32 inches is likely to be unflattering to the proportions of the room. The best width for a chair rail molding will vary a bit depending on the dimensions and the wall colors of the room, but 2 to 3 inches is most common. Get more info at bobvila.com and right here at home with me, Bob Vila.
To whatever works on KCAA. A little shout out to our board op, Joe. He's in the building. Woo, woo, woo. A little round of applause.
Joe.
And then we got Kyle's dad in the studio.
Yeah.
It's not even Father's Day, and he's still out here. No, just kidding. And then, of course, we have our special guest. We have Jeff. Hey, Jeff, what is your last name?
Denton.
Jeff Denton.
Yeah, Denton.
There you guys go. Before we went on break, we got to know Jeff a lot more, right?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, no.
No, that's so funny because
No, it's a good thing.
yeah, Kyle was telling me, he's like, you know Jeff a little more now, don't you? I was like, dude, I had no idea. because I work at Century 21 Lois Lauer in Yucaipa. I'm a real estate agent, and Jeff is one as well. And he's actually one of the first people I met in the office. And you know,
that's true.
I came in, all respect, shook his hand, we started talking, small talk, and then we'll say good morning, hey there, talking shop, and then recently I was like, hey, I want you on my radio show, because he's also an appraiser. I don't know if you guys heard that in the beginning of the show, but this man he has a lot of talents. But you're very welcome. He's an appraiser, also a real estate agent. So I was like, hey, I'd love to have you come on my show. And we're going to be coming with a group of people, an appraiser, a loan officer, me as a real estate agent, and just maybe like a bunch of people to come on during one segment to really talk about like the housing market and just answer any questions that people have. But tonight, the show is called Whatever Works. So I was like, hey, we can just talk whatever works. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys are just tuning in, we are at the bottom of the half hour. We got to know Jeff just a little more. I would say, hey, don't fight him in the streets if you see him.
That's a bad idea.
He does a lot of martial arts. Yeah. He has brains and bronze. But before we went on break, we were talking about going to the gym, and it's a nice a social environment if you make it, for sure.
Yeah.
Where else would where else would you go to meet some people, to socialize?
Well, it was interesting. I did, and I think you might have been a part of this, the concerts in the park a couple weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I helped the office on the Latin music night, and it was great. We had this really cool band.
Salsa.
All-female band, right?
Yeah.
All-female band, and so I kind of had my eye on the drummer. He looked pretty attractive from 20 yards. Yeah, so okay, I've said too much. No, at the end of the concert, they're all putting away their gear, and usually it takes the drummer a lot longer because they have multiple things going on in their percussion kit. So I walked up to her and I gave her my card, and she gave me hers, and we chatted for a minute, and then I walked away, never to be seen from again. No, I do it. It reminds me to give her a call and see if she's ready to go.
I feel like you're the type of guy who has a pickup line, like an on the go pickup line. You got one?
That's interesting. I really don't. I don't. I mean, there's the shy side to me, believe it or not. There really is. And I actually have to give myself a little motivation speech when I go out, looking for dates. I have to go, hey, so ask her out. She's going to say no 90% of the time, maybe, but 10% of the time you have a date, right? So that's kind of my theory,
I mean, it's all a number game for sure.
It is. It's like a lot of things. Real estate is a numbers game. If you send out 10 mailers a month, you're never going to work. If you send out 500 mailers a month and do open houses and do parties and introduce yourself at the parties, you're going to work. People are going to come to you, and it is. You're right. It's a numbers game.
Yeah, I'm still growing on that, especially in the real estate industry. What I found interesting is when you said like parties, when you throw like parties and stuff.
Yep.
What do you mean by that? Like real estate parties, like house parties, or?
Oh, any type of party. Any type of party.
Okay.
It could be a barbecue on Sunday afternoon at somebody's house that you hardly know, but you know somebody who knows somebody, and then you go. Next thing you know, you're talking to somebody. They're thinking about putting their home on the market. Boom, there you go.
You throw a house party, have everyone come check it out, and
yeah.
What? That is so smart. I like it.
Yeah. Have a, that creates another idea. Maybe what we'll do is I have to get the approval from my mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been living with my mom since my dad passed last year. So it's worked out well for her. because I bring resources into the household, and it's good. My brother and my sister support what I'm doing, and that's good. But I'm thinking like have a big barbecue party at my mom's house, and just invite the whole neighborhood and let the chips fall where they may. You know.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Like
bring,
a block party.
a block party with this neighborhood and that neighborhood. You know, I'll send out some mailers for that. I just gotta, I gotta get some kind of reply so I know how many baby back ribs to order.
I know, huh?
But do what you like. So if your thing is let's have a barbecue party and you like hamburgers, then we have some hamburgers too. Baby back ribs. I like baby back. St. Louis ribs.
Baby back.
We're gonna have those. Believe me.
The commercial, yeah.
That is awesome.
Do you like Schlitz malt liquor? We'll have that.
Oh,
okay.
Colt 45? Oh,
and 2 zigzags, baby. That's all we need. No, I'm just kidding.
We're gonna get nutty with this party, but we'll talk about specifics when we're in the office together again. Probably, if you're in on Tuesday, we'll hash it out.
Yeah, man.
There we go.
I didn't mean to say hash. I didn't mean to say hash.
Was that supposed to be like a pun or something?
Kind of yes.
Kind of no.
That's funny.
I won't finish my thought. I think you know where I was going.
Yeah, no, I got you. 2 peas in a pod, brother. So, what does your Sundays usually look like?
Sunday.
Yeah, your Sundays.
Yeah, that's a good question. I usually have an open house on Sundays, but last couple weeks I did open houses on Saturdays. But Sundays I usually go to the gym, and hang out for an hour and a half, sit in the sauna, check out some, potential applicants for a girlfriend position that I may reopen up. They have to apply. They have to apply.
In person,
right?
Not online, right?
In person, not online. Background check.
Then yeah.
There we go.
I've really said too much. I've said too much. But when you see them in person, you already know if there's some chemistry. And if there's no chemistry, don't waste your time.
Right. And at the bottom of page 7 in fine print, it says you need a blood test.
They have to give me their fingerprints too. All right. I gotta vet them. Because at my age, I don't have any time to lose.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm an old timer.
The time doesn't stop for us though.
No.
Huh?
You know what's funny? Talking about fingerprints, because I had to get my fingerprinted to get your license in real estate, and I had to get my fingerprinted to do like in-home care services, and it's like I've done nothing wrong, but every time I get my fingerprinted, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Because you never know,
Yeah. It's interesting because those fingerprints are going somewhere. And it's like, oh man, is the FBI going to find out some shit about me or what? Did I do something wrong like 8 years ago and forgot about it?
I know. It's so, and it always comes back. And correct me if I'm wrong, that's like something that you told me to be aware of, like when it comes to appraising. Like even you close a deal like years ago, like it come back and like bite you, right?
Yeah, I mean, any real estate license, you have a number of years, and appraising is 5 years. I think sales is also 5, where a lender or a homeowner could make a beef with you right up until 5 years after you do a deal, appraising or sales, and they're in the clear. They can do it, and the Bureau of Real Estate Appraisers will, and it depends on how far it goes up the chain of command. Mm-hmm. Like the HUD department, when our new friends moved into Washington, they set up a task force to go after appraisers who are racially biased. Well, I have a colleague who's on the hot seat with that, and maybe I don't want to say too much, but I think that was kind of a rough move on, the White House's part. I think that racial bias does exist, but it's such a very, very, very small part of our country. Is it 1%, 3%? Don't know. It does exist, but it's very small. People have been, I think over the last couple of generations, especially maybe since the civil rights movement, people have been educated differently, trained differently by their parents to not be haters of people who have different color skin than you do.
Right.
And that's how I was raised. I mean, I love everybody, quite frankly. So, yeah, it's a tough spot. But yeah, real estate can be tricky. You just have to. When I train people in real estate, I say three things: legal, moral, and ethical. If you follow those three words, you could still get burned, but you're greatly diminishing the afterburners.
Right.
In other words, the afterburners aren't going to be on you. But again, it's still possible, but you're just better off if you just play it straight. Play it straight, which is really easy to do. The people that are in it for the fast buck, they might make a little bit more in the short run. But if you're going to go to jail for 2 or 3 years because you were a douche, how does that hook up your career financially?
Yeah. They're not really thinking about like their future and like even the references, because that's like one of the most important things. Like if you have a bad rep, then more than likely no one's gonna want you.
Yeah.
How long?
I kept hearing this in college, that your reputation really does follow you, and so you gotta be mindful of that stuff.
How long have you been in the industry?
Since 2004. Because I went back to school, and I was in my mid-30s, and was basically a guitar student, but somehow the university got a hold of me and they pinned me down. No, they didn't really pin me down, but they said they wanted me to audition for the opera program, and I said, well, I'm not an opera singer. They're like, we don't care. You will be by the end of the school year. Because that's what happened. I started opera program second year, and they picked a nickname for me.
What was it?
And I started Booyah.
Booyah.
Booyah. Yeah. I did this. They had me when they initially my first session with the opera students and the faculty. They said, Jeffrey, we need you to make a move in front of everybody. It could be anything. You could just walk across the stage, but we want you to say something. And so I was like, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do or say. I have no idea. This is really new. And then, so I ended up walking, and then I did this. I leaped up into the air. I did some weird ballet shit, and then I said, Booyah.
Booyah.
Yeah. And so for the next 4 years, that was my name from them. They wouldn't call me Jeffrey usually.
Oh,
they call you Booyah.
Booyah.
Nailed it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yep. So that's my opera story.
Wow. When was the last time someone called you Booyah?
Really at the university, and I when did I leave? I left in about 2008 or 9. Yeah, because by then I was starting my own appraisal company, and I didn't quite finish my master's degree, but that's okay. I was in my 30s, needed to make money.
Are you gonna go back and get your master's?
Oh man, if I won the lottery, I would consider going back for my PhD. But at my age, I have to be very mindful of Cocoa Beach, because that's probably where I'm going to retire.
Oh, okay.
Cocoa Beach?
Yeah, Cocoa Beach, Atlantic Coast, because it's near Disney World. Because who doesn't like Mickey Mouse, right?
Right.
It's close to the Kennedy Space Center where they launched that big bad bird. I got to see that. And it's also close to Daytona Beach where they race those crazy cars at like 200 miles an hour.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Cocoa Beach is within an hour of those three things. So I've been researching for a long time. So Florida is also very affordable for retirees.
My brother, my oldest brother, he's actually moving to Orlando.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the end of the year.
Now, is this Sam talking or?
Kyle. This is Kyle.
Oh, it's Kyle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Kyle, have we ever met?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But
So you're not a realtor at Lowe's Flower with us, are you?
No,
No.
he's my co-host on this amazing show.
Oh.
Yeah.
But maybe Kyle should get his license and hang out with us.
You know, I'm always down to learn something new and hang out.
Yeah.
Maybe I will come by.
Yeah.
He can come by Tuesday. Check out the office.
Tuesday? Actually, I'm off
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Okay, there you go.
Now you're talking.
I'll come by and meet you. We'll talk.
And
We'll-
wait, we have potluck right next Tuesday because it's like every third
potluck.
like the third week.
Do
third-
we on? Oh,
I'm in.
wow. I gotta. Yeah, you gotta come by for the food, man.
I think
At least come by for the food.
right, just for the food. That's okay.
Yeah. don't talk to anybody.
right.
Come by for the
Just
food.
walk in there and just start grabbing some food.
Everybody
fun.
would be like, Sam, who is this and why is he not talking?
I don't know. Like, excuse me, sir, can I help you?
Hey, just give me a login to the computer. I'll grab some food, go to the computer, and I'll start acting like I'm doing something.
I know.
Yeah.
Hey, just be like, yo, I'm from the Redlands office.
Yeah, there you go.
No.
Hey, there's some. Maybe I shouldn't say this out loud, but there's some interesting talent in the Redlands office.
Oh yes, I have.
You know?
I know.
Booyah!
Booyah! Hey, Jeff, I want to thank you for calling in, man. Having such an awesome show.
My pleasure.
I enjoyed it. Unfortunately,
My
we are
pleasure.
closing up right now. But is there anything you want to say before you leave? Maybe do a shout out or quick thanks to yourself.
Shout out to Lois Flower. Shout out to you guys for hosting tonight. I had a lot of fun talking to you guys.
Awesome.
And would look forward to doing it again.
All right, brother. Well, thank you so much for coming on again. I'll see you Tuesday, and maybe you get to meet Kyle.
Yeah, I'll come down.
All right,
great, man. Bring him by.
All right. Thanks, man. Happy Sunday.
All right, happy Sunday.
And for everyone else still tuning in, this is Whatever Works on KCAA. I'm Sam Works.
I'm Kyle Kerrigan.
And we're logging out. We'll hear you guys from next week.
Moreno Valley, Corona, and Riverside. Listen to KCAA